골 객기제수다 유기 진기럽지시 수수 구루베마 시리움 울겐유기누 잠삼 배말개설당 보라 양센주기뉴 주nye 배마주nye 예수 자 고르간조마 보골 계기제수락주 진기랍지예수 구루베마시리 Hung at Oregon's northwestern frontier, on a stem in a corona of a lotus flower, wondrous supreme accomplishment attained, as lotus-born renowned, surrounded by a circle of many dakinis, so I may become like you. Please come and grant your blessing, Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. So how many of you are familiar with this mantra or recite this mantra? So those of you who are not familiar, you can become familiar by reciting it. Okay? So, Om Ahum Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. So this is a great way to just, as a support, to just simply have something for your mind to rest on. Have something for the mind to rest, pull away from all the pulling distractions that normally pull us away from being present, okay? Just simply recite Om Ahum Benzaguru Pema Siddhi. Om Ahum Benzaguru Pema Siddhi. Just relax and just recite Om Ahum Pema Siddhi. Just say the mantra and become the mantra. So your mind is totally focused on the mantra. You're saying the mantra, then you become the mantra. Then you've automatically stopped the distraction of the mind. Om 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 By simply being aware while you're saying the mantra, you automatically become the mantra. Om. Om. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Just simply stop the mantra and just simply relax. Just relaxed. Just relaxing is just being without being anything. That's how simple it is. Just simply being without being anything. So we can just simply relax by just letting everything go, letting everything be. Without getting involved in anything. As we normally do. But just simply relaxing. It's just being. Just relaxing, just being. Is natural. Because we're not doing anything to make it unnatural. So this can be the total meditation. How complicated is that? Because of our habit, our conditioning, we can't do this very long. So when we can no longer naturally just be, just simply relax, then we need some support. So we can pick an object. That object can be the mind, which you experience. And just simply be that mind. Without that mind becoming anything. And just rest in that mind. So those of you who are new may not be familiar with what the mind is. then you can use the breath. Which is a very popular meditation. Just be the breath. As you breathe in, as you breathe out, just be the breath and rest in the breath. So let the breath or the mind be the support, so you don't become distracted as you normally do. So you can be the mind by simply seeing the mind, feeling the mind, experiencing the mind. So in this meditation, we're not only preventing the distraction of the mind, we're also automatically purifying the mind by simply mind, just simply being mind. More the mind becomes just mind, automatically the mind is purified. So purified here means being able to experience and see its pure nature, its empty nature. It's automatically purified without you knowing or being aware of it. mind just being the mind automatically becomes the mind itself. Mind itself is the nature of mind. Nature of mind is a totally empty mind, empty awareness. So when the mind can just be the mind, automatically the mind becomes empty of anything. Normally, the mind is always something. It's hardly ever not anything. And as I said before, nature of mind is none other than this present mind, absolutely not being anything. So take a break. Any questions? So is this meditation simple or complicated? Huh? Simple? Good. We're using the mic or we're not using the mic? Okay. Everybody's perfectly clear. So let me ask you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment, and that is the mind just being the mind purifies the mind.
To what?
The mind just being the mind
Right.
purifies the mind.
Right.
That's so powerful. That is such a powerful tool right there.
But simple, isn't it?
But simple. I like it.
Uncomplicated.
Uncomplicated.
Yeah. I mean, we're not doing the visualization and all of that. I'm not saying that's not good. Just a different way of doing it. You know, somebody who's like really lazy like me, this works great. Lazy and simple-minded.
Yeah, that's me.
Join the club. I know when we usually, some of us think about the nature of mind, oh my, you know, it's just so deep and it's profound, and you know, it's not something, we have this preconception, it can't be something, it's so simple and plain, you know, I mean, so easy. So as it is said, it's too simple, that's why we don't get it. It's too close, that's why we don't see it, it's too plain. That's what the masters say. That's why it's difficult for us to see or get it, because it's too simple. But it needs to be presented in a very simple, plain way. For simple people like me. You know, there are people like who are, you know, really intellectual, you know, I mean really smart. They're like very complex and, you know, not so plain.
Yeah, just to what you were just mentioning, I have the tendency to overthink and complicate things.
Right.
So when you're saying just
Yeah,
explore the
just
mind,
be, just
yeah,
relax.
I had to try, you know, I had to put effort into it to not complicate it, and but I did feel relaxed, and I did.
Yeah, you see, you get the taste of it. That's the important
I
thing.
think so. I think,
Yeah,
yes.
you can see the truth in that. You see, we hear the word relax, 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 but most of us don't really know the real deep meaning of just simply relaxing. And it's the same with the mind. We talk about the mind, we think we know what the mind is, we're very familiar with the mind in a half-assed way, but really, we're not that clear about the mind. As I said before, the mind is the most assumed and the least really known. So on a certain level, we all talk about the mind. We know what the mind is. We communicate with one another. But on another level, when you sit down to see what is mind, let me see what this mind is. That's not so clear, so easy, is it? So that takes years. But we can start to get the experience right away. We don't have to wait. You know, get the feel, get the taste. That's how we start.
So I just wanted to add that what brought me to the practice of meditation and Buddhism is that since at least possibly all my whole life, and especially I remember as starting as a teenager, that I've struggled a lot with anxiety.
You what?
Anxiety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And it kind of runs in my family, and for a really long time I thought that was just...
It can be very helpful too.
The way it was supposed, that was that I thought that was the nature of my mind, that the anxious mind. That
Well, we can start. You see, this practice, we can shift the attention from anxiety, that which plagues us sometime, or anger, or whatever. We just shift the attention to this mind, or just simply being relaxed, or not focusing on the anxiety. That's why the anxiety has power. Because we focus, we don't know how to not to focus. We don't know how to shift attention from that to just being relaxed or just the mind. But you have something now to shift your attention from being anxious to just simply being attentive to this mind. Instead of being lost in what is experienced, go to the experiencer. That automatically stops the distraction, automatically takes the power away of the anxiety. So you remember reading the blurb on this retreat or whatever. We're lost in what is experienced. That's the problem. We're lost in whatever we see, feel, and experience. So how can we stop being lost or being ruled by whatever we perceive, feel, and experience? By shifting our attention to the experiencer. And also the experiencer is none other than the mind. Okay? Know that. For now, just know that, and you can begin to really investigate and see how that is the case. The experiencer is none other than the mind. Mind neutralizes the power of the afflictions like anxiety, anger, hatred, because the mind is totally empty of anything. The mind is anything, not anything, but it's aware. As I said, mind is empty awareness. And that's where the power is. So when we stop perceiving the object as something separate, solid, then we're going to be really distracted. We're going to be totally ruled by it, determined by it. But when we start to see that it's none other than the mind, it's not something that is separate. It's mind. Because we don't know the mind, it becomes something separate and solid, self-existing. Your ignorance bestows the power of the object because you don't know the nature of the object or your own mind or the experiencer. So, good question. Well, yeah, I think you have a good start now. You have a lot of homework to do.
No, yeah, that resonates with me. The explanation.
But I think it's these are very doable and understandable, is it not?
I'm sorry, could you say that?
This is very doable
Sure.
and understandable. Okay. What about some of the experts? So it's about getting into it, getting the finer points, getting deeper into it. That's what the practice is really about. It's not constantly looking for new practice. I'm telling you this to the experts who think they know it all already.
Hello, thank you for your teaching. I really enjoyed it. I have 2 questions for you today. First,
That's all?
only 2 for now. I'm sure
Okay.
I'll think of more. The first is, I'm just curious, why do you meditate?
Why? Very good question. Same reason as this man right here. That would be the best way to answer. But to further explicate, I meditate because it helps me to helps me to be free from what I don't want to be. It helps me to be free from all the things that plagues me, from all the things that makes me suffer.
That was a beautiful answer, thank you.
What?
That was a beautiful answer, thank you.
Yeah. And not only that, what the result of that is, it makes me much more happier and more calm. It makes me much easier person to be around. When I was younger, you didn't want to be around me. Believe me.
I'm sure we've all had times like that ourselves. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
So for my second question,
Yes.
I would like to preface it with a notion that I think, or a metaphor that offers a good look into the mind. And that
Offers what?
a good look into the mind.
Yes.
And that is that there within the mind are 2 contrasting forces.
Right.
There's the almost half that's similar to the angel on your shoulder that is striving for harmony and purity and peace within.
Yeah.
And then there's the side that is struggling and searching but is lost in the in immediate pleasure and temporary gain. So my question for you is that once you found meditation, what were some of the realizations that you had that helped you to have your better side win?
Mm-hmm. I'm still fighting that battle. On a different level, of course.
Sure. Are there any?
But that's a very good question. Your questions are very good. Very, to the point. I appreciate that. So I would say Of course, there's many answers. But one of the answers that I can give you is the impermanence, the unfixedness, the non-solidity of things, what we see, what we experience. Because of our habit and conditioning, we have a tendency to perceive, feel, and experience whatever we feel and experience. And unconsciously this happens, at the unconscious level, that it's like solid, permanent, and separate. When you realize that it's just a passing, just like what I said in the flyer, what is experienced is just a passing thing. It's not a permanent, unchanging. But we perceive it as unchanging, permanent, separate, and solid. That's where the problem is. So if we see that things are impermanent, changing, there's no solidity, how can we get upset? How can we hold on to that as being something? That's the way it is. See that? That's why we get bent out of shape, because we're fixated on something. We're doing this. This is what happens when we get bent out of shape, right? When we get angry. That's what happens. What happens when this happens? Anger is gone. Automatically becomes unbent. That's the relaxation. That's the letting go. So in a way, the whole practice is about letting go. Because basically, what prevents us from being who we really are, our true nature, the innate great perfection, is we're holding on. We're being something that we really are not. We're holding on. That's why the practice is simply nothing but just letting go. There's many different levels of letting go. You know, it's not a one-time deal. We start out with a gross level of letting go, then subtler level. That's how we can start to really relax or feel free, by just simply letting go. One of the ways we can let go is just simply let things be as they are. See, that itself, that phrase, let things be as they are, this can be the whole practice. So when we're not doing anything, we're automatically letting things be as they are. When we're doing something, when we're changing, when we're trying to improve, make it better, or whatever, we're not letting things be as they are. Even though we may think, I'm improving, I'm making it better. But really, in the real sense, you're not. Maybe in the short term, immediate sense, maybe you are. But in the real sense, you're not. So anybody else?
Thank you for your teaching. I have a question that I've been struggling with. I'm the type of person who my mind is going 100 miles an hour all the time.
Join the club.
And it seems to never stop. And then, so I came to Buddhism and I learned about mindfulness and meditation. And no longer, I mean, it's human tendency to just follow down a chain of thoughts, and it goes and goes and goes. And here I've learned to say, okay, hey, there's a thought, and then I'm not going to follow it. The question that I have is, the nature of the mind is emptiness. The purpose of the mind is to think. So how do I balance the power that my brain has to be able to think and to be able to come up with complex ideas, and then balance it with the simplicity of just letting it go?
Yeah, just letting be.
So what's that balance point between thinking or just...
Everybody has to find their own balance point through different practices. So, for now, it's okay. Do the complex practices, the task. You use your mind, you use your brain. You need to focus, okay? But you can start to train in not focusing, or not getting lost. Okay?
Thank you.
Just simply, this is such a simple, plain practice of not focusing. In fact, this is what I'm really going to get into this weekend. That simple practice of non-focusing has power to free us. All the grasping, the attachment, grabbing onto, comes from focusing. If we don't focus, it can't happen. It comes through the focusing. So I want you to just see what it is to not focus. Of course, at first it's going to seem strange. I'm not used to this, this doesn't seem right. But that's how we get lost. That's how we get constricted. See that? We create our false world, false reality through focusing. So when we have thoughts, the thoughts seem so real because we're focusing on the thoughts. When we stop to focus on the thoughts, they no longer seem so real like they did before. So I'm giving you a lot to process, you know?
But it's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. And it just depends on how you unpack. You got a lot to work with. I'm offering a lot of tools, a lot that you can work with. It just depends on how much time you spend on it. And of course, you know, I come and I'm available. If you want to keep on doing the practice, you can stay in touch. But of course, if you can just totally do it on your own, that's fine. I mean, I'll prostrate to you. Absolutely. You have some support if you want it. Okay? Okay, let's sit for a while. So why don't we just keep on doing the practice that we started out with? Just being the mind, just being the mind, automatically prevents the mind from being what it is not. Prevents the mind from being anything. Just simply be the mind that you can perceive, feel, and experience. So you have something to work with. So you have this perceptible mind that you can work with. Also notice that you can be the mind by simply observing the mind. Mind, simply observing the mind. Automatically becomes the mind. just simply be this mind, which you can perceive, feel, and experience, and nothing else. So if you feel dull, saturated, that you want to take a break, just simply drop everything. Okay? Just drop what you're doing and just relax. That's all you have to do. Then when you're ready, you can start over. So in the beginning, it's good to do in short intervals. As you keep on doing, you'll be able to do it in longer intervals. Because if you try to draw out the intervals too long, then it becomes counterproductive in many ways. Yeah, you just drop everything, just relax, go back. Just simply relax, just being. Then when you're ready, just start over. So when we're just simply observing the mind, make sure you're not focusing on the mind. but simply being aware of the mind without focusing on the mind. You're just simply observing. break. So any other questions?
Hi again. So continuing with what I was talking about earlier with anxiety, about the fact that I tend to be an anxious person, and
Speak closer to the mic. Yeah.
Similar to what the gentleman was saying about your mind just rushing at 100 miles per hour. One of the really bad mental habits that I've struggled with, and again, one of the things that brought me to this practice and to Buddhism is rumination.
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 Yeah.
Actually, I recently took a test very popular with professionals.
Yeah.
It's called Strengths Finder, and my
Strength Finder?
That's the name of the test. And,
Okay.
And my biggest strength was intellection.
Yeah.
Which means that I like to think a lot.
Right. Well, you know,
and they see
some of us have that tendency. Yeah.
They, you know, it's funny that they see it as a strength, and it has served its purpose in my life. And for example, I was good at math and science.
Yeah.
I was good at school, but it's also brought a lot of suffering, a lot of anxiety, a lot of rumination.
You need to learn how to use it. Then it can be a great asset.
Exactly.
That's all you need to do. When to use it, when not to use it, how to use it. But don't throw it away. It's like you said rumination. I was thinking of, how the cows chew the cud. This is how we chew the cud, but we do it much faster. So yeah, that's not a problem. You just work with it. I mean, we all have problems. We just work with it. That's the practice. It's not a big deal. But if you feel the connection, you feel that it's working for you, you see some potential, you should dig into it. Go for it. Otherwise, go look for something else.
Yeah, I'm just finding balance between using that as a strength and helping me think about productive thinking.
Yeah.
And then the rumination that leads to anxiety, leads me to worry about my finances, my career, rent, paying bills, whatever it is. All those thoughts that float in my head, and then having that tendency to get carried away by it. Oh no, rent is due. I gotta pay a bill. So just finding.
But you should be, that's your strength. You're smart. That should be, you should be smart. You shouldn't have any problems. You would think, where's the problem? I solved the problem. No problem. But that's not the case, is it? Yeah.
Finances.
I mean, it's so true. Our strongest points can be the weakness simultaneously. And that's in so many ways.
And I tend to particularly ruminate a lot about finances just because of how expensive Denver is. And like I said, paying rent, paying bills? Am I getting, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it's all in my head. It's those are thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just trying to.
See, we don't when we recognize the thoughts as a thought, then it's not a big deal. But when we're thinking, most of us don't recognize it as a thought. We see it as something real. We totally forget that it's a thought. And we get so involved. It's so real to us. That's what happens. But the practice of seeing the thoughts is none other than mind. Seeing whatever you're observing is none other than this empty mind. Will automatically stop the distraction, the misperception. So I want to offer one pith instruction, or whatever you want to call it. So whatever you perceive, feel, or experience, if you don't see it as mine, then rest assured you're distracted. So just know that. Eventually, when we become awakened, know our true nature, all the things will appear as none other than empty mind. Not mind as something separate, okay? But just empty mind. Clear, empty mind. So it's a huge shift to make. But I had the insight a long time ago. Unless I can see that what I'm seeing is not as solid, something different, I will never be able to be free or become awakened. But that was asking me at that time to totally be different. You know? It was actually asking me to be crazy. Yeah. I mean, I go around telling people this is what's real. I mean, you better go see a psychiatrist. You know? But that's the shift we have to make. You know, you do it gradually, you know, it takes time. And yeah, it becomes workable. You do it gradually. Because a lot of things happen simultaneously, you know, as you practice. So anyway, anybody else?
Hi again. I actually didn't have another question. I had a response to his.
Yeah, sure.
That I would love to have any insight that you have to add included as well. But something that has helped me immensely is related to the idea of impermanence.
Yeah.
And it seems that oftentimes when I worry about finances, about relationships, about all these things, that what I'm really worried about is losing control over the situation. But with the nature of nature and of impermanence,
Nature of all things is impermanent.
Absolutely. And it's just simply out of your control. And so something I do to kind of shift the negative rumination to a positive light is by asking myself, did I try my best? And that puts the accountability on me.
Yes.
To determine what really matters,
Right.
and what is real and what is not. And I think that really helps, because then you have something to focus on.
Yeah.
That will kind of take away that negativity, that negative attitude that might be holding you back, or making you almost almost pity yourself. Like that's how I would describe it when I have been
Yeah.
there. But that's just my 2 cents.
But don't, you got to be careful. It's not totally dependent on you, because we're part of an interdependence of so many things. A lot of things we have no control, but you just control whatever you can control. But you have to be lenient, open. Don't get so bent out of shape when you can't, do things the way you want to do, the way you think it should be done. There's a saying, you got to go with the flow sometimes. Okay? But it's important, it helps a lot. That simple fact, which is so self-evident, so plain, but we forget. It's so easy to forget. Things are impermanent, constantly changing. So how stupid it is to hold on to something that's constantly changing is not changing. Right? That will solve a lot of problems, believe me. When you just remember that simple fact. Everything is impermanent, changing. Nothing is real as we think it is really real. So I just shattered your reality. Let's stop at that. So we don't have the dedication, so we'll do our own dedication. So everybody, by just being here, doing the practice, supporting each other, we've automatically accumulated positive merit. We want to share that with everybody. So we offered and share it with everybody. And make aspirations. It's important to make aspiration. Aspirations are like directions that you can travel. If you don't have aspirations, you're blindly aiming towards something, and you're not clear of this direction. So make clear aspiration. And offer the merit. Share it with everybody. So may this enlightened mind of cherishing others fully blossom and mature. So that last prayer that I recited, footnote to that, it is said in Tibetan Buddhism, all the suffering comes from self-cherishing, and all the happiness comes from cherishing others. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. So a couple announcements before we take off. So Brendan will be teaching tomorrow night at 7 o'clock again, and then he'll be teaching on Saturday and Sunday from 10 until noon, and then 2 until 4. And then also on Sunday morning at 9 a.m., we'll be doing another Riwa Sangchud healing smoke offering practice and dedicating it to our dear Sangha sister Marcia, who passed away just over 1 week ago. So Brendan will be leading us in that practice at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. And then in the afternoon on Sunday, Marcia's husband Bill is hosting a memorial for her at the Lakewood Elks Lodge. And so I can give you the address. It's in an email, but if you need the address, I can give it to you. And he's going to be holding that memorial from 2 until 5. So if people are listening to Brendan teach and you want to go, you can still go after the teaching. And if you're free, then you can go and be with his family. So that's happening this weekend. Next weekend, Nishala, who is the first Western woman that was trained as a Tibetan medical doctor in Dharamsala, is teaching on the root tantra of Tibetan medicine. So it's how do we use Tibetan medicine and foods and other things to help heal ourselves and improve our practice. So it should be another great weekend. So I hope you can join us.